What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to predict the June DLC for Predator Hunting Grounds. I also want to clarify where I stand on this paid stuff, okay? So I want to do that all in this video. Now, I get that the alpha, right, the alpha class, and it was a class, I know a lot of you guys had said it's not actually a skin. In fact, it's an entire class. Honestly, in my opinion, it's a lot like Dutch in that way, right? That it's basically a one of its own kind, okay? Like I said in that video, I really like what I saw with that alpha class, right? He looked, whatever you want to say, the Predator looked very, very cool in that. And so when you think about predicting it doesn't really, or predicting June's DLC, I don't really think you can do it without saying, well, that one's gotta be part of it. I really don't think they gave this out as part of the contest to just do it and to not include it later on. So obviously, I think this is the paid, and I will say that, I think this is the paid DLC part of the June update. Now, again, just like I've always said, and just like I said in that video as well, I am happy with it. At the same time, this is not what the game needs. So, and I know I said this is going to be predicting it. I am going to predict it, but I also want to add in what I think it should have been, and maybe go ahead into the coming months, because really what that limits it to is this. Well, for Dutch, you had the weapons, which are going to be free for everybody in just a few weeks at this point, and then the audio tapes were the free thing, right, to basically continue the story of Dutch. So again, cool for fans of the Predator franchise, but honestly, not much at all in terms of, especially the free part, the audio tapes. That's not anything, I think, to enhance the game or add any kind of meaningful value to it, add anything that people that are playing this game day in and day out, and there are people that are still playing this game quite a lot, but I'm seeing more and more people jump off, and those people I don't think are going to be enticed to come back because of audio tapes. So when it comes to the Predator, now here's what I will say, just to be transparent. I only saw the Predator class, okay? I don't know if in the gameplay that's been circulating online, is there any weapons, is there anything like that came with the Predator? I feel like in this paid DLC, you should include some sort of new Predator weapon. Now, Dutch had two, right? Dutch technically had the gun, the hammerhead, and the knife. Now, the knife was basically visual. It visually looks different, but it's literally the exact same thing as the normal knife. The hammerhead, yes, it's a gun on its own. It's got its own stats. It's better than some guns. It's worse than some guns, right? It's got the attachments, all that kind of stuff. So that is a very unique gun. So when it comes to the Predator class, it's like, what happens? Is it going to be exactly the same thing as Dutch? I feel like it should be exactly the same when it comes to at least giving us one weapon. I would prefer two. In fact, even what I said with Dutch's gun, I actually like the hammerhead. I think it's actually a really, really good weapon. I could see myself using it in the future. So the Predator class, I think, absolutely needs to have at least one weapon. I feel like if there is a way of doing like a long-range thing, you should maybe consider it. I feel like there are enough short, although you could argue, and see, this is the problem right here, actually, in this discussion I'm saying right now, this is the problem, because even if I follow along my line of thinking, like the short-range weapon, people really only use the combi stick, okay? The stick is the only thing people really use, because the other ones, just flat out, are not even remotely near as good. And then when it comes to long-range, like, yeah, the Smart Disc has it has some advantages. It has a lot of disadvantages, I think, too. And then, obviously, the bow, I think, is pretty darn good, and people were getting pretty good at using them. But right there, I feel like that is part of the problem. Weapons, we need weapons. We need perks. We need gear. I say it I am repeating myself every time, because I do feel like it's an important message, and I think a lot of you guys do get it. I think some people, even that watch these videos, and while it's awesome, I really do appreciate everybody that watches these videos, I don't think everybody gets it that, when it comes to this DLC, okay, the Predator, again, it's the same thing as Dutch. The Predator is going to help a little bit, and I think I even used like an analogy to somebody in the comments. I think they actually agree with it too. It's like, this is, you're like wounded, okay? And this is like a Band-Aid, but it was a Band-Aid on the wrong part of your body. And so it helps a little bit. Maybe it'll prevent, maybe you had a cut somewhere else and it prevented that, or, it helped that cut, but you're like bleeding out right now, right? And you didn't solve that problem. And that's honestly what I see from this game. And I really don't think there's any arguing that this game is in major trouble. And I honestly feel pretty happy with myself that I was able to predict something argument like this. And anybody that's been watching since months before the trial even began, because I was covering this for almost a year, I literally said, dating back to like the very first video, that these are big problems that could very well happen to this game. And I don't want them to, but I think they absolutely could happen. And now we're seeing it. We're seeing a fan base that's dying out because the game is not getting the help it needs. So again, when it comes to the DLC, paid DLC, I do think it'll be the Predator class. I think to make it actually worth $7, I think you'll need at least another weapon. But again, is that going to be free to all Predator classes like a couple weeks later? I will say this, at least for this, if it's the Alpha Predator, I think that's actually better than Dutch because at least you can freaking see them because it's third person, whereas Dutch is first person. You can't actually see Dutch. You can only hear Dutch, okay? Which I made the argument for that in the past video. So I guess value-wise, you are immediately getting more value here because at least you can see who you're playing as. Again, at least one weapon. The free DLC, I truly don't know. Like, could you do audio tapes? Because like the Predator Alpha, that is in the lore of Predator. So do you do more audio tapes, like explaining how this like makes sense, or like giving more I don't know, like background information to this Alpha class for those that, because I mean I don't even know anything about it, right? So maybe like for somebody like me or somebody who's just playing this game and sees somebody else playing as the Alpha class and is like, what's that? Like I want to learn more about them. Not that people are really saying that. Again, that's the problem. I can't see the free DLC being anything more than that. I truly can't. If it would be perks or gear, I would be just I would be so happy. That would be an amazing thing, but I just truly don't see it. I don't know if maybe July or August, maybe that's when they start doing it. But like again, like we've had that discussion before, and it's a tough discussion to have. What do? Do you put them? You have to put them in the free DLCs, right? But in my opinion, you set the bar so low for yourself for the free DLC that it's like, well, do you never jump over that bar? You know what I mean? I really do think that you set the bar so low with these audio tapes that again, all they're doing is for the hardcore movie fans, they're giving them a little bit more info, but they're not enhancing the game. I can go on YouTube and find these audio tapes. I don't need to even play the game, and I like playing the game. I'm one of its biggest fans. I'm one of the biggest supporters on YouTube of this game, right? But even I don't care. I just flat out don't care about them, and they set the bar there, and so it's like, well, do they say, like this month, is it much higher? And they say, oh yeah, I mean, we started slow last month, but we upped it up this month. I don't know. And at the same time, like I said, you cannot make these things paid. The day they made, and I know, I guess technically they already made the Hammerhead a paid thing, but you get it for free, right? Later, they made the knife paid, but you get it for free. They may make a Predator weapon paid, but you're gonna get it for free. Don't you dare make perks and gear paid. Don't do it. And God help you if you make the maps paid, right? Don't, and I've said that multiple times, right? Absolutely don't do that. So they've really stuck themselves in a corner. I can't honestly see them doing anything more than here's my dream scenario. My dream scenario is going off of the Alpha. Well, actually, my dream scenario is, again, what I've said in the past. Give us the map. The map is the free DLC. And then the paid, I don't even care what you give us at that point. Just give us the map as the free. But if we're going to go with the Alpha, if we're going to just assume that was done on with the contest, that was done on purpose to then give it to everybody if you pay them enough money next month, right? Or this month at this point. If that was their plan, I'm going to say my prediction and my best case scenario would be like, make this month Predator month. So if you pay, you get a new class and maybe you get a new weapon or two. I mean, the more weapons, the merrier, right? So I would prefer more than one, but if you give us one, whatever. If you want to do the same thing with Dutch and make that weapon free later, fine, okay? Because I guess the Predator is still the $7, and you're gonna have to pay the $7 if you ever want to get them. For the free DLC, link it with the Predator. So give us perks, give us gear, do that. I really I mean, people have come up with gear. I can come up with more gear that I want for the fire team than the Predator, personally. But I'm sure there's plenty of things you guys can come up for. And maybe we can do that too. Like gear that the fire team needs, gear that the Predator needs. Maybe that will be my next video. I think that could actually be really cool to kind of put some ideas together. But make gear, make perks. There are a lot of perks. I will give them that. There's tons of perks, and a lot of people have very different arrangements and what works with the perks and what don't. But give us more, because, I mean, game. We could always use more. Again, I think we need different objectives. I think we need different maps. I think we need an offline mode. I think we need all this stuff. I mean, you could just write a Christmas list to Santa with all the stuff you want added to Predator. And we're not going to get that, okay? Santa is not going to give us that, at least not this month. But what we can at least hope for is, I would say, give us a more Predator-oriented month. Don't go audio tapes. Please, for the love of God, don't do audio tapes. Give us something that enhances the Predator experience, because, again, ultimately, that's the only thing in just the base game, that's the only thing that can help this game, is enhancing the experience. I don't think Dutch enhances the experience enough. I think he's fine. He's there. He's present, right? But I don't think he enhances the Fireteam experience. What would have helped if you did Dutch, and then the free DLC, again, was like 2 new gear and then like 5 new perks or something like that. That enhance, because now you have different loadouts for the Fireteam. You have different gear, so they're playing the game differently. So now the Predator needs to adapt. The Fireteam's doing things differently, right? That changes the game. Not just changes, it evolves the game, and that helps the game survive longer. Ultimately, that's what it's all about, is this game surviving longer. You messed up. They messed up. Ilphonic messed up in May, June. They can do it. Again, same thing with the Predator. If you have a new Predator, and then you have some new weapons, and you have some new gears and perks, you're going to have so many Predators playing and again, the perks and gear are free, so everybody is able to basically play the Predator differently. Again, that evolves the game, that helps the game. And then for those that want to spend the extra money, which in this case would be fine, you have people playing as the new Predator. And then, again, maybe like the weapon, you have a new weapon, so now the Predator, again, is playing differently. So, again, now what does the Fireteam have to do? Now they play differently, right? Now the experience is changed for both sides. It's a game that actually works really well in that regard. They built it off a system that if you do something to one side, you actually impact the other side without doing anything to them. That is a good thing, but that's something they have not, and I will repeat that, not taken advantage of so far. So again, I mean, it's you can maybe tell from my voice, it feels kind of defeating. It feels defeating. It feels deflating. It feels annoying that they're doing things like this, because I want the best game possible, and I had so much fun. I played this game non-stop for like 2 weeks straight, at least like a week and a half straight, and then I actually moved states. But I love this game. I had so much fun playing this game early on, and again, all they need to do is keep adding, keep building to it, and you will keep people around. But they are not doing it. Flat out, they are not doing it. They are failing at that, and that's going to result in this game going away very, very quickly. Bringing it to Xbox One or Xbox in general, that would help. Bringing it to next gen, can they do that? That would be very helpful, right? There are things they can still do to help it. Like I said, I basically talked myself into a couple new video ideas in this video, so that's very good. So there'll be more Predator videos throughout this week, guys. As always, I know people have continued to do this, and I really do appreciate it. The PlayStation name, it's actually on our channel. It's in the About tab. I'll leave it in the description here as well. You can always add us, not just for PlayStation, but for anything. We have the Discord server. We have Twitter, all that stuff. Discord, we have different categories where you guys can like link up with other people to plan play sessions basically of games. So if you guys want to join that, loads of different ways to playing with the community, as well as obviously you can just pop in the game and play it with whoever the game matches you up with. But if you guys want to do that with the Podcast Now community, they are definitely there. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe, hit that bell, all of that good stuff. There'll be more Predator videos throughout this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see what happens with the the June DLC, and I'll definitely be making videos once we find that out. Okay, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.